right. Heart of steel and endless fight. Screeching gears clash with might. Roar of the Triceratops ignites. New guardians rise on the hill. Red mutants scorch and kill. Echoes of war never still. Robot world bend to battler's will. Battle reigns supreme. Hear the guardians scream. In metal and in dream. Triceratops, guardian gleam. Rise of Brachioso stands tall. Red and fury ready to brawl. Ground shakes in the call. Clash of titans to make them fall. Steel against steel and fury. Past the void, past the misery. Forge our fate with bravery. Nil left for red in the gory. Battle reigns supreme. Hear the guardians scream. In metal and in dream. Triceratops, guardian gleam. Misery. Forge our fate with bravery. Nil left for red in the gory. Battle reigns supreme. Hear the guardians scream. In metal and in dream. Triceratops, guardian gleam. asunder, breaking every chain. Red eyes glowing fierce, tearing through the mist. Crimson warriors battle iron fists. Electronic screams echo on the terrain. Zaton and Sunder breaking every chain. Red eyes glowing fierce, tearing through the mist. Crimson warriors battle iron fists. Hear the Guardian scream. In metal and in dream, Triceratops, Guardian gleam.